After something changes, life doesn't stop asking ordinary things of you. You still wake up. You still have places to be. You still answer questions, make decisions, move through routines that haven't changed, even though something inside you has. This episode is about that experience. About what it's like to keep getting through the day while carrying something you don't necessarily want to explain. For many people, grief or loss doesn't show up as constant emotion. It shows up as effort. The effort it takes to focus. The effort it takes to respond. The effort it takes to do things that once happened automatically. You may notice that simple tasks take longer now. Not because they're harder, but because your attention doesn't move the same way it used to. Part of it is occupied elsewhere, not with thoughts or memories necessarily, but with something unresolved that's being held quietly in the background. This can be confusing, especially when you appear functional on the outside. You may still be showing up, still working, still participating in life. And yet, internally, it can feel like everything requires more energy than it should. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means something real has changed, and your system is adjusting in real time. One of the more difficult parts of this adjustment is that it's mostly invisible. From the outside, nothing obvious may have shifted. People may assume you're fine. They may talk to you the same way they always have. They may expect the same pace, the same responsiveness, the same version of you. And you may not have the energy or the words to correct that assumption. This is often where the pressure to explain yourself begins. To justify why you're slower, why you're quieter, why you don't seem as engaged. But explanation takes energy too, and sometimes there isn't enough left over for it. This season doesn't ask you to translate your experience into something understandable. It recognizes that some things are being carried quietly, and that quiet carrying still counts as real effort. You might notice that your motivation feels inconsistent. Some days you can move through tasks with relative ease. Other days, even small decisions feel heavy. This fluctuation isn't a sign of regression or instability. It's part of how adjustment works. Grief, loss, and major change don't drain energy in a steady way. They pull from it unpredictably. You may feel capable one moment and depleted the next without a clear reason. That doesn't mean anything is wrong with your willpower. It means your capacity is shifting. There can also be a subtle guilt that comes with this. Guilt for not doing more. Guilt for needing rest. Guilt for not being as available as you used to be. But needing more space isn't a moral failure. It's information about where you are. This episode isn't about pushing through the day or learning how to cope better. It's about recognizing that getting through the day at all can already be enough when something significant is being carried. You may find yourself simplifying things without consciously deciding to. Choosing quieter environments. Saying no more often. Letting certain tasks wait. These aren't signs of avoidance. They're signs of prioritization, even if you haven't named it that way yet. There's also often a shift in how time feels during this period. Days may blur together, or certain hours may feel long and heavy, while others pass quickly. This isn't disorientation. It's your internal pacing adjusting to new conditions. You don't need to correct that pacing. You don't need to force yourself back into rhythm. Rhythm returns on its own, in ways that can't be rushed. Another quiet challenge is how this experience intersects with responsibility. Work still needs to be done. People still depend on you. Tasks still carry consequences. And yet, your internal resources may not match external demands the way they once did. This mismatch can create tension. Not dramatic tension, but a constant low-level strain. The feeling of meeting expectations while managing something unspoken underneath. This episode doesn't offer strategies for resolving that tension. It simply names it. Because naming something can sometimes ease the sense that you're failing at something you were never meant to handle effortlessly. You may also notice changes in how you relate to other people throughout the day. Conversations may feel harder to sustain. Small talk may feel unnecessary or draining. Listening may feel easier than speaking. None of this means you're withdrawing. It means your attention is being used differently. You're allowed to be quieter. You're allowed to respond more slowly. You're allowed to move through your day without narrating your internal state to anyone. There is no requirement to perform normalcy. Getting through the day doesn't have to look confident. It doesn't have to look productive. It doesn't have to look strong. Sometimes it just looks like showing up and doing what's possible, without making it mean anything more than that. This season isn't here to help you become efficient again. It's here to stay close to what life actually feels like while something important is being integrated. Some days, you'll notice moments of ease. You'll focus without effort. You'll move through tasks without resistance. And then something will shift again. That doesn't erase the ease that was there. It just means the day is changing. Nothing about this needs to be fixed. If you're listening to this while in the middle of an ordinary day, you don't need to pause or reflect. You can let these words move alongside you while you do whatever comes next. Getting through the day doesn't require explanation. It doesn't require justification. It doesn't require improvement. It just requires honesty about where you are. If this episode feels like something you can return to, you're welcome to stay. Liking the video helps it reach others who may be quietly carrying more than they let on. And if you want to keep a steady space like this available as the season unfolds, you can subscribe, not for answers, but for continuity. If someone you care about is struggling to get through their days without knowing how to explain it, you're welcome to share this with them, only if it feels right. Life continues to ask ordinary things of us, even when something inside has shifted. And getting through the day, as you are, is already enough.